Hey guys, what is up? Today I wanted to show you guys my favorite lens that I have in my bag. It's called a Helios 44-4M, actually 44M-4. This lens is the lens that I use on like a daily basis. I always come back to this lens for a couple different reasons. So the thing I love about this lens, besides the optics, is that this lens is really heavy duty and I can throw this thing wherever I want and it's not going to be an issue. It's small, it's compact, but it's also got some weight to it, so I could probably knock somebody out with it if I ever needed to. Now, talking about the body of the lens has two rings on it. It's got a focus ring and it's got an aperture ring. If you want to use this with a Nikon or a Canon or a Sony, kind of got to get a mount online. The little rings, you can buy them for about $15. I got mine on B&H for $15. Now, let's get to the cool part of this lens. This lens probably has the most distinct bokeh I've ever seen. It's very clear, it's very sharp, very soft, and it has kind of a swirly effect to it, and that's kind of why people like this lens. So these Helios lenses sort of have a cult following in the photography community, and that's because they kind of bring a character to your images that not a lot of lenses can bring that aren't expensive, is what I'm trying to say. Now, people like to call this lens the king of portrait lenses. You'll see why in a minute, but this is because it makes the skin softer, it's very sharp at the same time. So let's go ahead and look at some sample images from this lens. I'm gonna kind of go over these with you guys. So here's just a photo of some leaves. You can see in the background the bokeh is really soft and nice, but the leaves are still sharp and in focus. And there's some editing. So here's a portrait of my friend Joe. As you can see, his skin is still really soft, but his nose is also sharp and in focus. And the background is blurred out as well. And there's some touch-ups. Here's a good example of that swirly effect. You can see how the bokeh swirls around the subject in the photo. So once again, here's some more oranges. If you can see, the oranges are pretty sharp as far as focus goes. When it's edited, you'll see that the bokeh is even more distinct. And if you look at the oranges, they're a little bit more sharp. Okay, if I had to choose something that I didn't like about this lens or something that might ruin somebody's day, I have to say it's probably the fact that when you're wide open at 2.8, there's a little bit of vignetting on the edges of the frame. And it's fixable, you kind of just got to turn up to 5.6. So I really enjoy the character of this lens, and so something like that doesn't really throw me off. I feel like it adds depth, adds kind of, its own little feel. I think it adds to the dreamy look is what I'm trying to say. Another problem that I might have with this lens, it depends on the lighting, but sometimes if you are in really bright conditions, you need to crank your shutter speed up a lot because this lens is very wide and it lets a lot of light in. And sometimes you'll get weird things happening on your edges. Some things will get kind of distorted or crummy. So with that lens, it's just usually like high noon, really bright light outside that you're gonna see this. And if you're shooting at golden hour, magic hour in the morning, anytime that doesn't have direct sunlight, you're gonna have no problems with this lens. It's gonna be really crispy, really soft. So to be fair, I'm gonna have to tell you guys about the aperture ring. Now, when you're shooting with these lenses on Canons, Nikons, Sonys, there's a little pin on the back of this lens, and I'll show it to you guys in a minute. But you're gonna have to do a little finagling if you want your aperture ring to actually work, because this button is what activates the blades inside the lens. So I have a quick fix for that, and I'll go ahead and show you guys if you're interested. So overall, guys, this lens just keeps on giving. I've had it for over a year now, and I'm still surprised by some of the photos that I'm getting out of this thing. This lens is really good for nature, for flowers, for portraits especially. Overall, I think that for $50, this lens is really worth it to have, and I think a lot of people should maybe consider getting this lens because it gives a really nice feel and look to your images. So I don't know, guys, go out there and buy one. It's up to you. Like I said, it's only $50. You gotta order them on eBay because they come from Russia. So that's all I gotta say, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, but with all that said, I will catch you guys in the next one.